Good afternoon, and welcome to today's edition of The North Star. With recent technological advances here at LHN, many questions have aroused in the minds of young students. So, to answer these questions, we have the extremely technologically advanced Mr. Oxner.
Hi.
Can you tell us a few things about the reasons for all the Wi-Fi throughout the school and the gym, Mr. Hardy's room? Why do we have it?
Sure. It started off that we just had Wi-Fi in the science wing, and there's a laptop cart in there and some scientific equipment that uses the Wi-Fi signal. So I think there were like 2 or 3 little Wi-Fi nodes in that hallway. And as part of our school improvement plan, we have a technology component, and we want Wi-Fi throughout the school eventually for kind of obvious reasons, for students to be able to use laptops in a classroom for research if they wanted to. iPod touches are legal in our school, so if they would want to access the internet for some academic purposes, they would be able to do so. As it stands now, we went into the gym, so now ideally we won't have to run a 100-foot Ethernet cable to hook up the laptop computer for chapels. That's one bonus. We don't trust it quite 100% as it stands, but in the near future we'll be able to ditch that cable, which is a good thing. If we ever have visitors in our building and for whatever reason they want to access it, it's a Wi-Fi hotspot, there's no password, so during basketball games or whatever event will be held in the gym, they'll be able to get on there. It bleeds over into part of the senior hallway and the cafeteria behind the actual router in the gym, so those areas are also hotspots. And really you'd use, why does Barnes & Noble do it? Why does any other place offer Wi-Fi hotspots? It's akin to that, I suppose. But we're in an academic setting, so ideally it's for academic purposes, but there's all sorts of things that people use wireless for. So the next plan, and Mr. Hardy uses it in lesson plans. He's doing a lot of stuff integrated into the curriculum, so that's what he uses his for. And ultimately, we'd like to see that school-wide and kind of tap into the power of technology and the internet and everything that Wi-Fi brings with it.
Thank you, Mr. Oxner, for that very useful information. Do any of you North Star staffers have any questions for Mr. Oxner?
I've heard a rumor that during chapel, the Wi-Fi activity goes way up. Is that true? And can you tell us about that?
I heard that too. In fact, I probably spread that rumor to some degree. We're trying to get to the bottom of that, and we're not. I think the activity does spike. I don't know how high it spikes, and part of it is undoubtedly maybe there's a few people doing something, but by and large, teachers aren't seeing a lot of activity like this. Yeah. So what our newest theory is that if your phone picks up a wireless signal, your Facebook might just be updating itself and interacting, so unbeknownst to anybody, your phone might be accessing the Wi-Fi, hence the spike in activity.
Don't you think that having Wi-Fi could be a really bad thing for a school? Not it's a great thing to have this technology and stuff, but there's going to be a lot of kids that are going on Facebook and stuff like that, in the middle of class, with their laptops and stuff like that, which, if I had a laptop and stuff and I brought it to class, I'd want to do that too. But, I think that's a horrible thing, because, you're not learning. You're paying $7,000 to go on Facebook every day.
Right. Well, good points. A couple of things. One, sure, there's some increased responsibilities, and for teachers, their classroom management has to evolve with the times. 2, the onus for learning is on your shoulders. So if you want to waste $7,000, A, before technology existed, I could sit there and stare at the wall for 48 minutes and not learn a thing. When the advent of the pencil came around, I could write notes the whole time and not learn a thing. Now, this is just another piece to the puzzle, and you still have to be responsible for your own learning, but yes, teachers do have to, their classroom management has to evolve also. So it's a sign of the times to some degree. There's no stopping this ball. It's rolling and it's going to happen, so we have to figure out how to deal with it. But you make good points.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Oxner. for your very valuable information. It certainly helps some of us in here as well as myself, and hopefully some of you guys.
Hopefully.
Now that we've heard what Mr. Oxner has to say about it, let's turn to the North Star staff and see what they think about the Wi-Fi. Do you guys think that it should be available throughout the entire school or just in certain locations?
I think it should be available throughout the school, but it has its pros and cons. But I think first, before it goes throughout the school, it should be in the library, because I know it's in the library, but it's password protected, so we can't use it. But if they do put it throughout the school, there should be some blocks on it, because yes, iPod touches are illegal, but I don't understand what the difference is in a way between your iPod touch and your cell phone. Because you can't have your cell phone to text people, but you can instant message people on your iPod touch using Wi-Fi. That just raises the question to me.
It doesn't make a lot of sense to have Wi-Fi in the library and have the passwords protected. That's not an effective use of the Wi-Fi. I think it's also a great place to use your computer in the library during a study hall or after school. And so I think that I agree with Dominique in saying that it should be in the library before it's anyplace else, because obviously that's where this sort of activity should be happening.
Yes, I think Wi-Fi should be allowed throughout the school only on academic purposes. I think you should only use the Wi-Fi if teachers ask you to do an assignment, or like if you're in the library and there's no more computers or laptops available, you can pull out your iPod Touch and do research.
Well, obviously you guys agree that Wi-Fi should be available throughout the entire school, but do you think that it should be turned off during certain points throughout the day?
I think you should be allowed to use Wi-Fi whenever you want, wherever you want, and if you're abusing it for the wrong reasons, for going on Facebook or playing games during class, that's your own fault, and we need to start instituting a little bit of accountability into our students instead of just, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's about teaching responsibility and personal choices, not teaching dictatorships or anything like that. So it's about learning for oneself, not being forced to learn.
Okay, I think there should be an on-off switch, because even though Mr. Oxford they didn't know why there was such like a peak in chapel, I still think that a lot of kids are using their phones during chapel, even if the teachers don't see it. So if it's picking up on the Wi-Fi, then I would definitely have an on-off switch, because people should be focusing on chapel instead of focusing on whatever the Wi-Fi is doing to them.
I kind of feel like an on-off switch is more trouble than it's worth. Unless there's something you could do it automatically, I feel like just having someone have to turn it off and turn it back on at certain points during the day would just be a pain and unnecessary.
Interesting thoughts, guys. Now, what do you think about every student having their own laptop? Do you think the school should provide them, or do you think that every student should be viable to purchase their own laptop? What do you guys think?
I think students should want laptops, but I don't think they have to be necessary, or students should have to have them. For instance, if you want to take notes in class but you hate writing them out, you can always type them. I've heard that's what they do in college. They have college laptops where you can type your notes, and it's a lot easier and faster. So I think it should be the student's choice whether or not we should have, or they should have a laptop.
I think laptops are a great tool. We can use them in class. They help a lot with taking notes, and we'd be able to type faster, and then the teachers are giving us the time to write. Sometimes the notes are really sloppy and hard to read. But I don't think that the school should require us to buy our own laptops. Some of us simply just can't afford the laptops, so if the school's going to make them necessary, they should have an option where they can provide one for us.
I don't know if laptops should be necessary for every student, but I think they're very beneficial. And I don't think that the school should give them out to every student, because one, then students are liable for them and damages, and students are really irresponsible. And two, people complain about the technology in the school right now, and they're not going to like the caliber of laptops they get from the school. And I feel like it would just save a lot of hassle, and students would be happier if they purchased their own.
Why Wi-Fi? Why not? We heard some pretty interesting responses today, so I guess we're just going to have to look into the future to see what happens next. I'm Jamie Rocklitz, and thank you for tuning in to today's edition of The North Star.